Guys, we are back. I'm Matt Ledbetter with the House of Folk Art, and I am really excited today because I'm really talking about a passionate subject today, folk art carved canes, also known as walking sticks. Guys, this is something that I started at such a young age. I was probably 10, 11 years old when my dad was coming out of houses with baskets, pottery, and a folk art cane with a tremendous snake carved all the way from the tip to the top. So I really fell in love with canes at an early age. And here in the gallery, we have a collection of 160 folk art canes. And I can't wait to show them off. We have some that we're going to highlight, and then we're going to show you what we think is one of the best tip-to-top folk art carved canes in the industry. And what makes these canes so special is 98% of these canes are circa 1900. And when we say circa 1900, anywhere from 1880 to 1920, somewhere in there is the production of all these canes you're going to see. So let's jump right in. So what we have here, we have 4 canes that we're going to take a look at. And right off the bat, what jumps out to me the most in these 4 canes is the paint. And I don't know if we can pick this paint up on camera, but it is a fabulously red painted cane. And check out the carving of the hand with the wedding ring there. Can you believe that? And look at the fingernails. This is a great carving, and you can see down the cane with the red paint. This is a great folk art cane. Again, circa 1900. That's what makes these canes so special. And then we have we can call this a Halloween cane. We can call this a mortician cane. We can call this a witch's cane. But what we're looking at here is a skeleton carved at the top. And at first glance, you think, well, they just didn't carve the rest of the cane, but they did. Right here, we have a bone, and then an end of a bone here, and the bone connects together. Can you believe that? So this entire cane is a series of bones that are connected. I mean, this is truly a unique cane. I've never seen anything like it. And my experience with these canes, when these canes were delivered to me, 160 canes at once, they were wrapped up in blankets. And as we were unwrapping them, I thought to myself, man, I don't know about this. These canes, they're, at first glance, I didn't think these canes hit on much. And they sat there for a couple weeks, because you got to understand, I own myself 400 canes. And some of the canes are good, some of them are bad, but I like a tip-to-top cane. Carved tip-to-top, paint, this and that. To me, that's what gets me in the folk art cane world. So I sit these canes aside. A couple weeks later, I start photographing them. You got to understand, as an auctioneer, this is my job. I have to prove to you that these canes are good, and I have to take good photographs. So while I'm picking each cane up, and now it's time for me to analyze, what do I want to bring out in the photography? And I start to notice, oh, this cane here, it's not just a skeleton head. These are actually bones. And when I started realizing things like that, I'm telling you now, from a cane collector, from a distance, these canes don't look like much, but they are a curated with care set collection of canes. I mean, every one of these canes, there is definitely a reason why this cane buyer bought them. He was not buying haphazardly. He bought canes that were on the up. So we're going to look at this cane for a second. At first glance, okay, we're looking at a carved top, a carved handle, right? And then nothing's carved going down the stick. All right, that's at first glance. But then if we really start to analyze the top of this cane, I don't know if this camera's, what do you see on your end? Is this upside down, or can you see the cats? All right, you see the cats? There's a snake.
Turn it around the other way. That's fine if you can't.
Like that?
That's the right side. Is it backwards for you?
No, I don't know. But what I'm getting at, guys, is this is more than just what it seems to be. There's a snake wrapped around it. So this is an incredible folk art cane I've never seen, and I'm going to call these Halloween cats or the witch's cat. Don't they look like black Halloween cats? So this is a tremendous folk art cane. Now the sad part about this is, by the time this video comes out, this auction is going to be done because this auction is in 3 days. But I am so glad we got these cameras here before all these canes left us, because this is a tremendous set of folk art canes. This cane right here, we're going to pull out because this is from my collection, and we're going to show it when we show off the other two that I brought. But here's another cane that we have. And what we're looking at here is a carved alligator cane, and this came from Florida. So most of the time, this is a one-piece cane. But a lot of times on these Florida alligator canes, they carve the top and you would piece the top together. But this one is actually a fully carved piece of wood. It's one piece of wood and somebody chose to carve the alligator on it. So really cool cane. These canes come up quite often. Now, this is the first cane that started to go tip to top in this collection. And here's what we mean by that, okay? So here we have a cane here, tip to top. So from the tip, the carving starts about right there, and it is carved all the way to the top. So starting from the bottom, we have hound dog, a horse, a salamander, another hound dog, some kind of lizard, a turtle, another dog. This is a great cane, another lizard, and you got to spin these canes around to really get the gist of them. So this is what we're calling tip to top carved cane, and this is an excellent cane. And one of the biggest things about these canes, again, is they are from circa 1900, and we got to remember that. So here's another cane that I like, that I think is pretty special. This is a carved African American's head, and man, I'm telling you, it is a great carving. Smooth like glass, and that's what you want. You want a carver that's so good that can carve. If a carving looks like glass, but it's really wood, that's a great carver, and that's what you want. You want an expert carved cane with paint. Got the black paint here. The eyes are of another mixture there. Got the little collar carved here and the bow tie coming down. And again, what makes this cane special, circa 1900. All right. So these are fabulous canes. We're going to move these canes forward. This is a very special cane. I love this cane. If this is truly a folk art cane right here. Look at that. Look at this, just natural occurrence in the wood. All right, this is not two canes. This is one branch or one growth. It probably grew out of the ground like this. Okay, but check this out. Look at these hands carved. Look at the folded hands. Look at that thumb right there. That's a thumb. You see that thumb? Can you look down on here and see that thumb? That is awesome. This is just a great carved cane. And it's, the more these canes are looked at, the better they become. So we got a head right here of some kind of animal. There's an animal head at the top. And again, this, like I said, what's making these canes so special is 1900, 125 years old. All right, this is not something that was done. This is not a contemporary folk art carved cane, and there's nothing wrong with those. We love contemporary carved canes, but these are all old folk art canes, and they make them really special when they're old. All right, let's switch gears just a little bit, because recently in the auction gallery, we have discovered a photograph that checks all the boxes here at the House of Folk Art. So here we have a photograph. Can you see this?
Yeah.
What do you see?
The back. This is my agency. Yeah, that's better. That's good. That's great.
Look at that. What's he holding? Basket and a walking stick, folks. This is a cabinet card from about 1900, possibly 1890, of an African American holding a tightly woven basket and a walking stick, sitting in a chair. I mean, it really does check the boxes. This is an incredible photo to have here at the House of Folk Art, and we're so proud to have it. So just take a look at that. And it's very hard to find images of people holding baskets. And this is such a good basket. This basket right here is just, my God. And this might be a little bit older than 1890. What a great photo. You could look at this photo for 10 or 15 minutes. All right, now what I want to show you, I feel like a card dealer. I'd like to show you the best cane you've ever seen. Okay, I want to see it. Ah! All right. Let's get these out of the way. Now, what do you do with these canes? You put them in a bucket. You put them in a bucket, and you show them. All right. You put them in a piece of pottery. Okay, here we have a fantastic cane. Is this whole scene right here what you're seeing? Can you see tip to top right here?
Yeah.
Okay. This is an extraordinary cane, and it's circa 1900. It's actually dated 1901, made April 1901, and I believe it has a town on it. I believe it's Rockingham, North Carolina, if I can find it. Is this the one that says Rockingham? Probably not. Okay, this must not have that. That's another cane I have somewhere. But this is a tremendous folk art cane, and what we're looking at here, we're looking at lizards, snakes. So a lizard being chased by a snake, the snake wrapped around the cane, and then the hand right here. Just a beautiful hand carved on the cane. Just an outstanding, then the face, an outstanding cane. Now, every cane that we've showed you is of quality. And this really hard to grasp the quality in a photo. The canes do much better when you can hold them, but I am going to try to show you two canes. I want to show you the difference between a mid-level folk art cane and a tremendous folk art cane. So here is on the borderline of tremendous. Here we have a cane that, again, we're looking for carved tip to top. So from the tip, carved all the way to the top. And the top is an expertly carved. This guy knew how to carve. I mean, he really brought it home with this carving. And let's start with the head of the snake. Is this clear? Do you see that as clear?
Yeah, it looks really good. And I'm zooming in over here too.
All right, so we're just going to go down the body. And then look at all these alligators, man. The entire cane is full of alligators. Look at all these alligators. So the entire part of this cane, now in every blank space, it's still carved. So this is a void space, but he has carved a notch. It took him a couple swipes of the blade to get that notch in there. And the last alligator with the words, persevere. Persevere. I don't know if you can catch that. Right there, we should be able to catch it. Persevere.
And show it to me over here. I'll be
persevere. We're looking right here down the body. Persevere. So the last alligator climbing up the cane, he's got the longest way to go. Everybody's in front of him, but yet he's saying, persevere, outlast, make your move. So this is one of the better folk art canes I think that you're going to see. And it's hard to say one cane is better than the other because all these canes are tremendous canes. But if we put it in the genre of what cane has the most carving from tip to top, what cane has the best carving, carved by the best hand, this is one of those. And it's anonymous. We don't know who carved it. Circa 1900. It could be an African American. Absolutely. Persevere with the raised fist. You know, it all makes sense. But this is a outstanding folk art cane. Now, while this cane is at the top, and for a long time, this cane sat in my collection as the top, right here. But I'm about to show you a cane that I believe outdoes this one. Wouldn't you say? Kyle's shaking his head. So here we go, folks. Are you ready to see it? This is a carved cane. And I really want you to know the difference in a carved cane and a carved cane, because it's important to know the top. You can't get to the top of the mountain by understanding what the bottom looks like. Just like you can't get to the top of your cane collecting if you stay with mid-range canes. I'm here to tell you, the House of Folk Art is here to tell you, this is the top. This is one of the best folk art canes you will ever see in your life. Now, what makes this also, I failed to mention, these are American carved canes. That's a big deal because there are canes from Mexico that are great carvings, but when we're talking about American folk art from the beginning of the 20th century, this is it. So even on the top right here, we got a salamander. Okay, we've got the date of 1904, and even the date is stylized. It's not just chicken scratched in. That is a expertly carved 1904. But I cannot express enough how great this cane is. I mean, if this cane showed up on the Antiques Roadshow, I don't think there's any end to the appraisal. I don't think you can put a number on this cane. Insurance value of this cane, $20,000 to $25,000. Auction estimate, who knows, $500 to $10,000, depending on if you got 100 true folk art cane collectors. The problem is these folk art cane collectors, a lot of them are dying out. A lot of them already have 600 canes. So it's not anything that's done lightly to sell a folk art cane. They're very hard to sell, especially from a picture, from a photograph. But this cane right here, I'm telling you, I hope you can see it. I hope you can see the difference in these two canes. I really do. I beg you to know the difference. Do you think they'll know, Kyle? Do you know? Can you see? I mean, just, you don't even have to look very far and you see. And listen, here's the deal though. Y'all got to understand this. This is a great folk art cane. You will travel, you will go to many shows to find this cane. Many shows. You might go to Liberty and not find a cane. There's many times that I go to Liberty Antique Show and I find 25 pieces of pottery. I'll find 125 that I could buy. I might buy 10 of them, and I see 0 canes. How many canes did we see at Fishersville? Did we see any this year? We saw a really good one last year. Folk art canes are very hard to come by. And you will travel distances to find a cane that's carved as good as this, the Halloween witch cane. And once you have your cane collection started of really good folk art canes, I need you to know that this is the pinnacle. I mean, there's every millimeter of this cane is carved. And when I say millimeter, I'm talking about millimeter. You want to say centimeter? Should I say centimeter or millimeter? I mean, you don't have to cut this. I'm just asking. Let's call it centimeter. Every centimeter. I mean, even the animals. Not only did they carve the animals, but the animals have carvings on top. This fox probably has 100 prick marks where the knife had to enter the wood and make a carving. It was very intentional. Everything about this is a professional carver. Now, this might have been his end-of-day piece. This might have been what he did after he made all his money carving the furniture or making the carved legs. In 1904, they probably, and we're talking through this together. In 1904, Mordecai Collins was not carving furniture. He was dead. So they had a lot of time on his hands. A lot of time on his hands. Who made this? Did a 20-year-old carve this? I wish we could just break it open and inside would be the letter from the carver. What would he say to us? What would the carver say? I think he'd say something like this. Dear Schmuck, I know you like carving canes. No, I'm sorry. Let me start that over. Dear Schmuck, I know you like folk art carved canes, but do you have any idea how long it took me to carve this cane? Because I'm here to tell you that this did not happen overnight. I have 112 hours invested in carving this cane. And I really hope you appreciate it. Because when I got finished carving this cane, it ended my carving career. Because I was scared to touch the knife again because I knew that I could not reproduce such excellence. I think that's what the letter would say. I mean, or it could go something like this. Dear Collector Schmuck, I know you think it took me 100 hours to carve this cane, but what you don't understand is I'm an expert cane carver, and I knocked 4 of these out in the same week. So somewhere out there are 3 more. Good luck finding them. It could read something like that. I'm not too sure. But I'm here to tell you I have seen a lot of canes. And this one takes the basket, man. What's it worth? Hey, when you own something, you're able to say whatever the hell you want to say. So, what do I value this cane at? Let's talk about values. On the hand cane with the red paint, insurance value $1,200 to $1,500. Auction estimate $300 to $800. And hey, if you get it for $150, you need to buy it every time. When it scoots on up to $350, $400, $500, $600, we're getting into an upper collector's hands. Okay, that's how we do that. All right, let's go with the turtle cane. Insurance estimate. I feel like the Antique Roadshow. Insurance estimate on the witch cane with the black cats and the snakes. This is a bowl of soup, maybe. Insurance estimate $1,000. Auction estimate $200 to $700. Okay, and then here's what happens to these canes. Okay, so I actually bought this cane at auction. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you what I paid for it, but it was sold at auction recently. Matt Ledbetter owns this cane now. Matt Ledbetter will never sell this cane. My kids might, and that's up to them. I don't really care what they do to my collection if I still have it. But to me, for me to sell this cane would be a number like 15,000, something like that. And here's the deal. If you out there have a cane that is as good as this, I'll pay $1,500 for it today. You might have a cane by the same carver. I don't know. That's one thing that I think the Antiques Roadshow is missing. Estimate. Make me an offer, bud. Estimate. Auction estimate. 2,000 to 4,000. Insurance value, 15,000. My offer, 900. That's being real. All right. On the skeleton cane, circa 1900. Insurance value, $800. Auction estimate, 200 to 400. My offer, $70. I'm being real about it. I don't pay out the for canes, but I know good ones, and when they get in my collection, they become really good. And hey, if you don't want to buy it, you ain't got to buy it, but it'll stay in my collection for 40 years. I'm only 43, bud. You think I can make it to 83? What about you, Kyle? You think I can make it to 83? 100? My grandma lived to be 91. Who'd have been about 35? My dad weighs 350 pounds and is 74. I mean, don't say that. What were you saying? Or are you going to cut that? Cut! Kyle, go back and cut that. So carved tip to top, auction estimate. Let's go insurance value first, $2,000. Why? Have you been listening to anything that I've been saying? Insurance, $2,000. Auction estimate, $500 to $800. My offer, $125. All right. I hope you have a sense. Now, I want to clear something up right now. Okay? I'm very passionate about American folk art canes. It's not that I don't like this next set of canes I'm going to show you. I don't like it when people cannot identify this cane. I'm going to show you a group of Mexican folk art canes. And sometimes they say Mexico, sometimes they don't. But I want you to be able to identify these. Now, they're great canes. They are not bad canes. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying that they are made in Mexico. And anybody that collects American folk art does not want a Mexican folk art cane. This entire group of canes right here is Mexico. Now, here's what you look for. I'm giving you valuable information. Kyle, this is valuable information for you. Whenever you have a cane and look at this cane. Look at this. Here's a hand. Here's a hand. I've never seen that on a Mexican folk art cane. Wow, this cane is carved from tip to top. But what am I looking for? I'm looking for the eagle standing on top of a cactus holding a snake. And if you don't know what that is, look it up is all I can say, but that's a Mexican thing, okay? That's a Mexico Hispanic emblem. What is it? Will you look that up for me?
It's like where they built Mexico City. It's all that.
Okay, so that is the classic giveaway that this is a Mexican folk art cane. Now, here's what needs to happen. One of y'all need to get off your and go do a book on this carver because he carved, or the group here, carved thousands of these. And they are old. They're from the 1900s. All right, here we have another cane where we say, this could be Chinese. This could be Japanese. This one might be Japanese, actually. It might be American. I don't know what the that one is. All right, let's go to another Mexican cane. Here we go. A fantastic, every inch of this cane is carved. Let's look. Oh, what do I see? The eagle standing on top of the cactus with the snake. Now, I can look across the room and spot a Mexican folk art cane. They all look the same. They'll have great lizards. They'll have great snakes. Then they're going to have the eagle with the snake in its mouth on top of the cactus. It's a Mexican folk art cane. Insurance value, anything you want, $2,000. Auction value, $200 to $400. My offer, $20. Okay? That is the deal with Mexican folk art canes. Same thing here. You got to be able to look at this whole group and say Mexico. Eagle, snake, standing on the cactus. This one might not have that, but I can guarantee you that it is a Mexican folk art cane. No eagle, no snake, but it is what it is. Are these bad carvings? No. Are they bad canes? No. But what they're not is American folk art canes. And I have witnessed on eBay antique dealers saying this is the most tremendous folk art cane I've ever seen. American, circa 1900. Snakes, lizard, eagle. And it's not that they're expensive, but we're just misrepresenting. These are Mexican folk art canes. I beg somebody to go do a book on this guy. There's enough of these canes, you can compile a collection of 200. Out of one collection, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's actually 3 more over there, so there's like 10. I myself have another 5 or 10 that I picked up for $20 because they are great carvings. But we got to know the difference. We got to know to classify these as Mexican folk art canes. Now, what do you guys want to do now? Do you want me to show you a couple more cool canes? Can I do that?
Yeah,
all right.
Go like 15 more minutes.
Yep. All right. Oh my God, I'm so glad that's not glass. All right, I'm going to pull a couple canes out of my collection, and I want to show you something that's really cool in the cane world, okay? This is something that happens often, and this is something that's really cool in the cane world. Now, you're out and about, I don't know, a yard sale, you're at Liberty, you're at Fishersville, the year's 2008, and you find a cane that is carved to look like an umbrella. You see the handle? You see how they got the umbrella? It's got the umbrella bottoms. That's the pegs where the metal is going to be under, and they're going to open up. Well, this is a wood. This is a solid piece of wood. It does not open, right? You see the top of the umbrella? So do we all agree that this is a carved umbrella, a wooden umbrella? Do we agree, Kyle?
Yes.
Okay. So you find this cane, and you say, well, this is neat. I've never seen anything like this. I don't want to pay a lot for it, but $20? Hell yeah. So fast forward 10 years, you're back at Liberty. Somebody comes out with another umbrella folk art cane. What have you now discovered? You have discovered a cane carver. Absolutely, unequivocally done by the same hand. And you can even see they use the same white. Are these white balls picking up? They're using the same white balls. The patina and the color's a little bit different. But now we have discovered, and I'm telling you guys, this happens in canes. We have now discovered a cane carver. How many of these did he do in his life? More than 50, I would bet. And that happens, guys, with canes. And it's so fun when it happens to you in a first chair experience. Listen, I'm not saying these canes are very valuable, but who's to say? I'm the Antiques Roadshow. Well, what we have here, Kyle, is 2 canes that are obviously carved by the same hand, probably southeastern, given that we are in North Carolina, and we're going to assume that these canes did not travel all over the United States. They stayed regional to North Carolina, so we're going to term them southeastern United States, circa 1920. And what's fascinating is that you have a pair of them. And what we do then is we start to put together that this was not a one and done. In our market of folk art, an extreme folk art carving can sometimes be called one and done. He spent all his energy on this one carving, and he's done. And what you have discovered here with the anecdotal story that you bought one at Fishersville and 10 years later you found another one at Liberty, This was by an actual cane carver. Now, the market is finicky with folk art canes because they really need to be looked at as pieces of art. And sometimes in a photograph, we lose that. So, insurance estimate on this pair of 1920 folk art canes by the same hand, and we're going to term these anonymous for now. Insurance estimate $1,000 to $2,000. Now, here's the kicker. Auction estimate, because a lot of auctions are online now and you only see a picture, about $100 to $200. My offer, Kyle, my offer today, $10. That is what I would pay for your pair of 1920 anonymous American Southeastern folk art umbrella canes, and I'm really happy that you brought them in today. Thank you for sharing. And then I want you to go exactly what the Antique Roadshow does. Yeah, it's like the wand sound, and then pop it up there. And it's sad. Here's another thing about collecting. It's really sad that this photograph is probably only worth $10. My hands look like the alien. But it's worth way more than that to me. I mean, I would pay $10 for this every time. And there's a pig or a possum right there. That's crazy.
Keep going.
Okay, do you want to see one of the coolest canes I have found? One of the coolest canes. I'm not saying it's worth a lot, but it's really cool. So we're going to go, I can't see because we're ready. Oh, right here. All right, so I don't think, oh God. I'm not drunk. This cane is not old because it's actually dated. This cane is dated 1982. So it's dated 12/8/82, and I'm going to assume that is 1982. But an incredible construction. Lee Reese, Salem, South Carolina. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say this is African American. It's got all the elements of a very crude, very naive, yet they took tremendous time to deep carve these names. Lee Reese, Salem, South Carolina. I mean, it's a great cane. And then we got this snake. No carving, but the snake is painted on the cane. This is an outstanding piece of folk art. It really is. And now, truly, please tell me that we can see the difference in these two canes right here. Boom, boom. Right? We don't even have to talk about the difference. Not only are they 100 years apart, right, but 80 years apart, whatever the math is. It's two different forms of folk art cane. One is a contemporary painted cane. One is a top-notch, top-of-the-line, tip-to-top, every centimeter carved folk art cane. But this is such a cool cane. Lee Reese, Salem, South Carolina. Hey, if you know Lee Reese, please let us know. Let me tell you what's cool about this cane. And this is another thing that is really fun about canes. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to bet that Lee Reese carved more than one cane. I would love to have 30 of these. So if you know who Lee Reese is, give him a call. You want an Antiques Roadshow this? You want a House of Folk Art Roadshow this? House of Folk Art Roadshow? Ready? Kyle, thank you for bringing in the cane today. So, where'd you get this cane? At a show. I got it at a show. Oh, good. Well, what you have here is a contemporary folk art cane with paint. And obviously, Lee Reese from Salem, South Carolina, really wanted to put his name out there. And this is an outstanding piece of folk art. The market on these canes is typically in the auction range of $300 to $500. However, don't be shocked if it falls off at $60. Insurance value, $800. My offer, $25. Cash money today. And if you can bring me 30 more, I'll tell you what. If you bring me 30 more of these, I'll up my offer to $80 a cane. But for the one considering that it may be a one and done, $25. But to me, this cane is going to be way more valuable if we can put into context that Lee Reese in 82 was carving canes for 10 years. So he started in the 70s and he ended up carving 600 to 800 canes. That is what's going to drive the price up on this cane. Who is Lee Reese? That's what's going to drive the price up. But a really cool cane, and you can see that the top is like a snake. It's got two eyes right here. Let's go. This is a fun cane. This is another one of those canes right here that is a... This cane is a root type cane, and they've carved the top into a snake. So it's a natural occurrence. Probably grew out of the ground this way. And that's the other cool thing about these canes. It'll tell you how a tree grew. So like this was the root of a tree. This part right here was down in the ground. Now, I don't actually know this by science, but this is, nobody really told me this. But this is what I'm telling you. This was in the ground. This was the root of the tree. Because how does a tree grow? Does a tree grow small at the bottom and it gets bigger at the top? No. The tree grows, the bottom of the tree is the biggest part, right? And as the tree rises, it gets skinnier. Well, look at the walking stick. I mean, yeah, it may have been carved down, but they went with the natural element of the tree. So this was in the ground just like that. These are the roots. And it probably had other roots coming out. They just cut them off. But we got a hand grabbing the root, which is pretty cool. So, guys, and let's also talk about this. How tall does this camera go? I want to put the churn up here and tell them how to decorate with folk art canes. So, will it catch the top? So, I want...
Just not above that camera.
Well, it's gonna go way above there because it's gonna be 4 foot.
Just put it up like on the left side.
Okay.
Your right side.
Yeah, perfect. All right, folks. And here's what you do with your canes, because I know a big part about this. So can you see my head with that? Because it's going to be about that tall.
I can adjust. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so what I want to do now is I want to show you how to decorate with these canes, because it is really important. Because a lot of times, depending on, hey, if you're solo in this, you can do whatever you want. But if you got a wife and kids that run around the house, you're going to have to justify a lot of these buys, because your spouse is going to say, what are you going to do with it, right? Well, this is what you do with folk art canes. Well, it creates another buy is what it does. And I really want you to listen to me on this, because instead of going to Walmart and buying the piece of vase that's going to get thrown away one day, jump into an auction and buy a crop. I almost fell. Buy a crop. And what do you do with the crop? Now you have a crock. What do you do with the crock? You start collecting folk art canes. And you turn that crock into this. Hey, Kyle.
Yeah.
Are you going to BJ's?
Yeah.
You turn that crock into this. You getting that?
Yeah.
Kai, come and talk about folk art canes with us. Pick out the best cane right here. No, come here. Seriously. Kai, you're smart. Pick out the best cane. If you had to choose out of these canes, take your time and really pick out the best. I want to see if you get it. There's a $20,000 cane in there, and there's a bunch of 500. Pick out the best cane. Take your time. Pick out the best cane. Take your time. Think about it. That's what I'm doing. It's not a name that's going to make it good. It's just going to be what you know about folk art. What's the best cane?
Honestly, either that one or that one.
All right, so out of those two, what's the best? Just go with your gut. Quick choice. Boom. Hold it up. Good job. You won. Now, from what you know about folk art, you're about to go lift weights. You're in the 8th grade. From what you know,
actually get it right.
you got it right. Tell the camera why you picked that one as the best cane, the most valuable cane.
Does it design the most? That's what I think.
Yeah, because it's carved the most. And you're right. Good job, buddy.